Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Wednesday, and all of our guests today, including Craig Button, standing by, brought to you by our title sponsor, Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca, as we're joined by TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I am doing great. I see you're both wearing the dark colors today.
Yes.
I'm used to you guys being a little bit brighter, but hey, what's that, Rick?
Yeah. Vancouver Giants, they sent Donnie and I a beautiful, beautiful thing here.
25th anniversary,
25th
Craig.
Vancouver Giants. You love them. You know the Western Hockey League. Good guys down there. Ron Toigo.
Oh, yeah, Ron Toigo does a heck of a job down there. And, Ryan Lynn, he's going to be a pretty high draft pick coming up in the NHL draft in June of 26.
First rounder, Craig?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No question about it. I think the question will be, is he going to be top 10 or is he going to be top half of the first round? But there's no question he's a first rounder.
Hey, Craig, I got to ask you this. I know you spent a lot of time living in Montreal, and I know you watched last night the Habs game, their home opener. The game itself was fabulous. Overtime win by the Habs as they come back to win. But just what was going through your mind when you saw that terrific Ken Dryden tribute?
Well, a couple of things went through my head, Donnie. Number one, I felt like how incredibly lucky I am, not only to have grown up there watching those great teams of the 70s, but then I'm looking at the bench with Ken's teammates from those great 70s teams, hearing Bob Gainey's voice with the passage from the game. I worked with Doug Jarvis. I worked with Bob Gainey, Jacques Lemaire and Doug Jarvis and Serge Savard. I mean, people that I know and I know well, and Mario Trump, it's just, and I think, and Ken Dryden. And I just think to myself, boy, as a kid, to watch those great teams, and then to not only work with them, with the people, but to know them, and to feel this just sense of unbelievable, and Ken Dryden's words, how incredibly lucky I feel to not only have grown up there, but like I said, seeing those players there and go, Jesus, I'm very truly blessed.
Yeah. It was so simple, so well done, and other teams can certainly learn from all those ceremonies that the Habs have.
Oh.
They nail it every single time. Now, sticking with the Habs for a second, Craig, we saw the program rebuild, and things seem to be really on the up and up in Montreal. Hockey is better when the Montreal Canadiens are a good team. They got 9 draft picks, 9 of their own draft picks in their lineup, other great young players. Do you understand why they've extended Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, you think back to November of 2021, it was only a short few months after the Montreal Canadiens lost in the Stanley Cup final to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Jeff Molson, the owner, said, I got to make a change here. You would think there might be a little bit more latitude for a rocky start. But Jeff Molson said, no, I don't like the way this is going. Brings in Jeff Gordon. It's hard for an owner to embrace the idea to say we're going to go to a rebuild. What's even harder is to execute. Well, he brings in Jeff Gordon, who brings in Kent Hughes, Marty St. Louis. We all know that they have executed exceptionally well to this point in time. And the future, forget about the future. The present looks promising, and the future certainly is promising. So when you see what Jeff Molson did in extending those two guys, I mean, there's every reason to applaud the execution of that, because that's not easy on two fronts. Ownership embracing it, and then those two guys executing it. It's been done very, very strongly.
Hey, Craig, we got to talk Vancouver. Pettersson, slow start, 1 assist, 3 games. Your thoughts? He doesn't look dangerous, Craig. What are your thoughts after 3 games?
Well, I read a quote from EP40, and he said that I got to be better after 3 games. No, EP40, you got to be better after your last 120 games. They haven't been very good. And at some point in time, I don't want to hear what he has to say. I don't want to hear his words. I don't want to hear coaches talk about he's capable of more. It's up to EP40 to go out and demonstrate it. Because right now, the doubts are only growing. The question marks are only becoming larger. as they surround EP40. And what does he have? 3 shots on goal.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 assist. I mean, he not only does he not look dangerous, he's not engaged. He's not engaged. And like, if you don't get engaged and you don't want to get after it, you're not going to get results. It's almost like he goes, well, if it comes to me, good. If it doesn't, that's good. That's the bottom line. And I don't want to hear you got to be better. Yeah, I guess you got to be better. I'll say this right now, guys. He doesn't get his game in order, we're going to be talking about him as a buyout candidate.
Wow. Yeah, no question. And what about the overall Canucks start? The center ice position, Craig, is got to improve. They sent Coots down. You were a big fan of Coots and what he was doing, but how do you, like, if they go out and try to get a second-line center, Craig, those guys don't grow on trees, and they cost you a ton of draft picks, and they cost you a ton of prospects. You know, in the 2024 draft, they traded the first 3 picks. So, like, what's going on here? How do you improve the center ice position? It's not going to be easy.
No, it isn't, Rick. But, you know, when you have your number 1 center that's not carrying any type of significant workload or, contribution, well, I don't care who, like, that puts an incredible amount of pressure on your second-line center. And Philip Hedl has shown some capability and everything, right? Yeah. But it's not going to work unless your first-line center gets his game to a much higher level. So you're right, Rick. You look at, like, where you're at. I'm not so sure that Philip Hedl can't settle in. We can always look at what could be better or what would be ideal or whatnot. But at some point in time, I think that EP40 becomes the elephant in the room. He's the elephant in the room. And if he doesn't get going, nothing else matters. And I use nothing in quotation marks because, like, that's hyperbole. But the team can't move forward with him performing at the level he's performing. And the level he's performing at, subpar. Yeah. Unacceptable.
I don't think people think it's hyperbole, Craig. I think you're bang on. Some positivity surrounding the Canucks. In what ways has Kiefer Sherwood improved as a hockey player?
Well, I mean, first of all, he plays the game with a boundless energy, and he's a competitor. If I'm Adam Foote, I'm going to show clips of Kiefer Sherwood to my team and say, here's what you got to do, and Daryl Sutter, who I was around, and I think Daryl Sutter, you know what Daryl Sutter would be doing? He'd be poking EP40 on the bench and going, that guy works harder than you.
Thank you.
That guy is doing way more than you're doing. And somewhere along the line, and I really believe this. I was laughing when they said, "Oh, Craig Berube called out William Nylander." He didn't call out William Nylander. He said he's capable of more. We need more from him, and then he pointed out the areas he needs to be better in. Somebody better start doing that with EP40 because the excuses are done. If it's me, I don't want to talk about the excuses and how he has to be better. Let's see you do it through action.
Well said. I'm from Vancouver. I love the fact that I grew up in Vancouver. I grew up in Burnaby, actually, but there's a part of me that is so jealous of you. Growing up in Montreal in the 1970s and all those, and you had the Expos too, and the Alouettes were doing well, and there was just so much going on. But to watch those Habs teams on a regular basis, that must have been something else.
Well, as a teenager too, you're right in that prime time. You're 11 years old till 17 years of age, and I mean it's just unbelievable. You're playing hockey and you're watching these great players play. It was phenomenal. It really was, and certainly, lucky. I mean, you end up in a spot where it just ended up coming. It intersected with my youth, and as I just said at the beginning, it's intersected with my adult life too, and I'm incredibly lucky.
And now you get to spend 1 day a week with us. What could be better, Craig?
I'm incredibly lucky to have that too. Trust me on that.
Thanks, Craig. Next week.
Thanks.